Festi fam, the time is now. Festival goers unite. Welcome to the Festi Files podcast, where we highlight the creative and inspiring individuals around the world who collectively come together and bring to life the festival experience. So if you're watching this at home and you attend festivals, if you're live streaming festivals, if you are backstage at events, if you're on the stage as a dancer or the person providing the beats and the music, we each play an important role in the culture. My name is Desmond Beristain, CEO and founder of Festiie, Festival Smart Band. And today, all the way from the UK, tuning in, we got him. Royalty, festival royalty up in here. This guy has attended so every year he attends over 30 music festivals. And we're going to get into that, just like how is that possible in a bit. He's a blogger, as I mentioned, from the UK. You might know him as the Festival King. So the Festival King, Liam Dixson, welcome to the Festi Files podcast.
Hi guys, I've actually haven't got my crown with me at the minute. I couldn't find it. But yeah, you'll find it in a field somewhere probably.
The crown ain't safe. No, the crown is safe. You're good. Dude, let's get right into it. How are you during these times? I mean, literally it's raining worldwide since 2014. You've attended over 30 festivals a year, and now obviously that's kind of on a pause. So how are you adjusting?
It's been difficult. I've been doing quite a lot of the virtual festivals, defected festivals. Every Friday have been great, switching up with Glitterbox. But yeah, kind of just like chilling, focusing. But so many people messaging me being like, how are you coping without festivals? UK festival season doesn't actually start until 25th of May, but because we've had such great weather here, everyone kind of feels like it should be festival season. So I've only really missed one weekend, but I've missed out on some of my international ones that I usually go to. Wasn't down for Coachella this year anyway. Don't like that vibe anymore. It's just not me. Like I first went 2014, I was just like, this is sick. And then just over the years, I've been like, not for me anymore. But yeah, just, staying inside, hoping that everything's going to get better, watching all the festivals cancel. We've literally lost June's, July's, most of August have gone. I'm literally just holding on for September. I've got to get at least one festival in, maybe two. I have to, and I'll fly anywhere in the world to do it. So
there you go. Yeah, let's talk about that a bit. So you're UK based, and it's interesting because you just said, festival season officially in the UK, Europe scene doesn't start to really May 25th. So literally, we're like, 2 days into it.
One down.
Yeah, exactly. How does that work? Because let's say, for example, I'm here in LA, and it's totally different. Where it's kind of, even though it's damn near year round, but we start in March, it starts to percolate, and then April, obviously, then through May, and then now it's summertime, going all over the place. So talk about the UK scene and how that festival schedule and overall is just like slightly. I don't know. Is it elevated but a different level than the US?
It's very, very different. We have a huge number of festivals for such a tiny country. There's only 60 million of us, and you can drive from north to south quicker than it takes to get from like Northern California down to the bottom, like that whole like PCH stretch. The reason that we start later is mainly because of weather. Everybody has probably heard of rainy Blighty and all of that stuff. But yeah, basically, so it's our May bank holiday, which is the official start of festival season. This weekend there would have been a minimum of 15 major festivals happening across the UK. The biggest weekend is usually our August bank holiday, which is the last weekend of August, and then there's like 19, 20 major festivals plus like lots of smaller ones popping up. But yeah, we start later mainly because of weather, and even starting late, you can never ever guarantee the weather. This weekend is traditionally always sunny, and has been for the last 3 or 4 years. But we could be in the middle of August and it's torrential and You're wearing like rain boots. I nearly said wellies, but I had to change it. I changed it so everyone understands what I'm saying. So yeah, so we have to wear like rain boots even in like July, August at some festivals with like major flooding. A couple of years ago, I was at a festival that got cancelled because the rain was so bad. On around the 20th of July, a festival called Why Not Festival, just in the bottom of a valley, and people were camping, like on a hill, and just watching people trying to like scramble up to their tents. It's just wild here. But the whole festival culture compared to the US, I've done a fair few US festivals now. It's very different. I mean,
yeah, what is the difference? Like, is it, because I've heard obviously about like Creamfields, I've heard about, Glastonbury, like, but what is it literally about those festivals that, because anyone that speaks about them, I can see that expression in their face, and it's just like, damn, like
this one right here.
Yeah.
It's just so different. I mean, the US do festivals in such a magnificent way with the most fantastic planning. I know a lot of people don't like Coachella, but in terms of what a festival should look like, it's super clean, it's well thought out, it's well planned. Regardless of the acts or the people who go, it's everything about it is perfect. And that's not something that the UK really do. It's all about the imperfections. I mean, just things like cleanliness and food, and like, there's no such thing as car camping in the UK. Like, you can't camp next to your car. It's muddy, it's dirty, you can drink anywhere. There's loads of like young people, just like really young people, just doing things they absolutely shouldn't be doing. It's a great experience. The one thing that is really missing from the UK scene, especially in dance music, is the whole plur thing. Like, I've maybe seen one person with candies. Wow. At one dance festival. I go to quite a few. It's just not a movement that's made it to the UK. EDC came to the UK, did not work at all. Mainly because obviously the light show is the most important thing about EDC, but they put it in a place where they had to close at 11 p.m. Now, where we are on the globe, it doesn't get dark until 10:30.
What?
So, yeah, I mean, it's still light outside now.
Wow.
And it is gone 8 p.m.
Wow.
Whereas, like, you're at EDC Vegas, it's dark by 7 and you go all night. But they want you to experience the stages and have the EDC experience in the daylight. Now, Orlando do it, where it's like day and night, and that works. But there's just no nighttime atmosphere. So EDC and the plur movement, which may have come with it, just kind of disappeared, which is unfortunate. But I mean, yeah, hopefully it makes its way. But yeah, just the unity and the togetherness of Americans, especially in dance music festivals, and that sense of community isn't something that we have in the same way in the UK. It's just a lot of people going out and getting wasted.
So it seems like there's probably like more so unwritten rules, right? Because you just mentioned like, oh, you're not camping near your car, but it is going to be muddy. It's more of this. It's a different form of immersing yourself, right, in this atmosphere. Yeah. It's like they've created their own atmosphere where you might see people messing around or doing whatever, but I feel like there are some unwritten rules in the UK, and I mean, for it to do so well, right? For you to see, you said 50 festivals in a weekend. Like, to me, that's unheard of.
Yeah. It is really different, and I think one of the main things, the worst thing, the one thing I hate about camping in the festivals in the UK is camping. I don't really do it anymore. I'm royalty. Like, I've graduated out of that. You will find me being bougie in glamping, in a yurt or a teepee or a wigwam or whatever. You will not find me in like a 2x2 pop-up. Like, I'm done. But, where people have like laid out their tents and you've got like those paint markers, like they had at I think it was like Okeechobee,
Mhm.
and they had the Coachella. Where, like, there's a space for your tent. No, there's none of that. It's anything, anywhere. Trying to walk around, you're tripping over it. There's no like lanes. There's no roads. Like, you've just got to hope you find your tent. Just hope. That's the way. And then it rains and leaks, and you've bought a cheap tent, and and then there's somebody in it, and somebody's stolen from it, or someone falls on it because they've tripped over one of the ropes going home. Yeah, that's the one thing that like US festivals massively have over the UK. It's like how organized with that military precision. And when I first did it, I was just like, oh, this is weird. But I mean, from Coachella 2014, the people who I camped with either side, I still see. I've been to festivals around the world with them. Like, I still hang out with them. I still speak to them on the phone. I've been checking in with them in quarantine, because obviously the situation in the US is very different from here. And I hope everybody's okay, and I hope like everything just gets sorted and people are more sensible. Otherwise, you guys won't be having festivals for a while.
Yeah, it's interesting right now. We're all trying to stay positive. I guess that's number one, But
Yeah,
the thing is, so many festivals have been slated for October. So, but you kind of give us a little hope when you mentioned, 50 festivals would happen this past weekend, because there are like hundreds of festivals that are all slated for October. So I feel like the reality is, hey, it might not happen. I mean, some of them are already closed up shop until 2021. So we're all trying to cope with that in our own ways. How have you been able to cope with that? Because, like I said, from going to 30 a year to now, you're at the crib.
So the other side of it is like, this is my entire job. This is my entire career. So not just a professional festival goer, I actually do brand partnerships. So, when you see like, whatever the beer sponsor is, I just broker those deals in the off season, and then they're all done. And then for the festival season, I get to go to them all and see the fruits of my labor and have a great time. And there's very little work to do at the festival in comparison to what happens in my off season. So if you're wondering, how is this guy going to the D40 festivals around the world, that's how.
What's your story? So let's just get right into that then. I know. I'm like, all right, let's get into the story of the Festival King. Take us through when you were the festival prince and you ascended to the next level and you got your crown. Because
I remember when I was the festival prince. That was when I was doing 15 festivals a year. But essentially, I used to work in sports partnerships. So I used to do like beer and soccer, and used to organize stuff with the rugby and do like stadium takeovers and like broker the deal to be like the official beer of like English football, things like that. But loved festivals and I was just like, right, I want to be in the festival space full time. So I made a couple of different moves. Alcohol and festivals obviously go together hand in hand, but I actually switched for a bit and did things like health and beauty and food at festivals. So obviously everybody knows that it isn't a myth. We do love a cup of tea. So I did a V Festival, which is part of it, which used to be sponsored by Virgin. And there's two festivals on the same weekend, one in the north of England, one south. And they have the same acts on the Saturday and the same acts on the Sunday. And then they switch. So the acts just helicopter from one to the other.
Oh, okay.
So I had those two sites, and that was a massive activation for me in the festival space, where we gave out 150,000 cups of tea, like hot tea with milk and sugar at a music festival. This is how we roll in the UK. And then I did some really cool stuff with Shaw deodorant, which I think, you guys call it Rexona.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember this product called Motion Sense, where it was the more you move, the cooler you get, and it releases. So I came up with the concept of taking over a stage at Creamfields, and we put 3D sensors, and the more the crowd moved, we had CO2 cannons setting off. So every time like they went wild and danced loads and there was loads of movement sense, it cooled the crowd down.
Wow.
So I was doing like really cool stuff like that, and then some guys were like, "Hey, do you want to come and do alcohol at festivals?" And yeah, I mean, I've been doing that 5 years now.
Wow.
Like, I don't just do alcohol, but it's 90% of what I do, because I couldn't afford to buy drinks at every festival. Not 40 of them anyway. They're expensive. They are expensive.
Yeah.
I look at people, I'm like, I don't know how you do this. Like, the people who do 10 festivals, I'm just like, do you know what? That's you can go to the Mexico from the UK for less than what a big festival weekend costs if you add everything together. So
just adding on to that, that's one thing about UK festivals that maybe you could validate compared to maybe some of the festivals stateside, is like they're probably a little more affordable, right?
There's a massive mixture.
Hmm.
I mean, you've got a day festival for 10,000 people, which might be between £35 and £50 a ticket. So $45 and $70 a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get some major acts. And then you've got huge camping festivals like Glastonbury, which is on par with sort of Coachella pricing. But if you want to go VIP, you can't buy that. You have to know someone, and then it's £2,000. So $2,500. Yeah.
There's no VIP.
I mean,
damn.
There isn't really a VIP. It's like backstage hospitality. So it's kind of like you go straight to the back with like the celebs.
Got it. It's like an art.
Yeah, I'm always looking for a sponsor for that area. So if anyone's listening, hit me up for next year. But yeah, I mean, we've got a really broad range. I mean, sometimes you can have a 3-day camping festival for £100 a ticket. So like $130.
Got it.
So yeah, it's quite a mix. And then in terms of pricing of drinks and things, I mean, it's through like some festivals are £3.50. So if you and then for the same drink in another festival, it'll be £8.
Yeah. Now
like more than twice the price, depending on where they are, what the drink is. I mean, it's always vodka. I literally, anytime I'm doing the deals, I'm just like, you're pricing it too high. You're pricing it too high. I don't think I've ever told anyone that it's too cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, except maybe one festival, because it was too cheap. It was just like, you're going to lose money. But I think it was an oversight. But yeah, you can do festivals, and it's really affordable. And nowhere's very far. We've got amazing train networks, and all the festivals have a bus network that comes from the cities, and you buy it through the festival, and it's like all one package. So you can get everything done quite easily.
Okay, yeah. You just meant that's cool. Like the traveling, just like everyone says backpacking through Europe. So can you use that same type of methodology to attend multiple festivals in Europe?
You can. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, because the Euro Rail Pass is great, but it lasts 3 weeks. So, I mean, if you're going to come to Europe, and you want to do a festival a week, then I think that'll probably work out. But you could come to the UK and do 3 festivals and save a whole load of money. But you might not get as good weather as you do in Spain or Croatia, Croatia's probably my favorite place in Europe for festivals. Either there or Malta.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's a festival. They've got a festival village where different festivals. So it's different markets around the world. So one week it'll be a Swedish festival, and it'll have like a Swedish audience, and they've got 5 or 6 super clubs, like on the beach, all open air, with major DJs playing and infrastructure, and the whole festival, all of the stages are pre-built, and it's there all year. So every week there's a different festival happening.
What?
So you can potentially do that, and it's just like a completely different crowd, different people, different feel, depending on where the home festival is. So yeah, I did an amazing one called Hideout, and then you do the boat parties. Don't know if many people know about Croatia, but it's the other side of Italy. So it's just like Italy, but cheaper.
Wow.
And Yeah, a lot cheaper and just as beautiful.
Festival Village. So it literally, the theme, it's popping. It's just every week it's a different kind of theme or genre or wave of music coming
Yeah,
through.
yeah, and it's just permanently there all
Yeah,
summer.
yeah.
Yeah, in a place called Zerche, ZRCE, on Pag Island, if you want to look it up. But Hideout Festival was the one that I did out there that I really enjoyed. But, you know, as we were leaving, there was a whole new group of people coming in from another country to have like a completely different festival in the same
Wow.
space. Really interesting. It's a
Yeah,
cool.
that is cool. You get that little mixture, and just like you said, that you get to see the transition. So the whole new wave of people and the little mingling. How do you just mentioned so pretty much you're now working on, is it more of operations, or how do you balance the two? You know, like your festival loving self that wants to get out there and have a good time, especially if you're the one with the drinks too. How do you
Yeah.
find that balance? You know, because as you mentioned, how do you become a festival pro, but balance
Yeah.
that out with being the
So
festival king?
so I'm lucky. Like I kind of make sure everything is done. Like I will arrive at the festival the day before the crowds, and it also means I get to do sneak peek access on my Instagram. Um, I make sure everything's done. I'll walk around, you know, every single bar and make sure that my logo for whatever brand is on everything. And then once it's in, as long as, you know, sometimes we'll run competitions. So as long as all the competition winners are happy, the clients are in and have their wristbands, and the bars are selling the product and we don't run out, I'm free. I'm free to do what I want within reason, but also with incredible access, which is one of the reasons. Like I used to be a big Snapchatter, and I used to get on the global story every week for
Wow.
Snapchat, just being at different festivals, which is kind of how I grew my platform. And then it kind of just happened where, you know, I realized people want to see like what it's like on the other side, what's going on in the artist area and what's going on in the backstage area, in the VIP area, and they want to see the view from the stage. And I was kind of like, I really took it for granted. I didn't go like set out to become the festival king, and it's not a name I gave myself. Just like a couple of like mates started saying it. It's just like literally every festival, like you literally are the festival king. I was just like, right, that's it. I'm taking it. Copyright. Literally bought the .com that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just planning. Like all of these festivals, you know, people arrive at a festival and don't take into consideration that these bars aren't there all year. These staff don't work there every week.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brand new setup every single time, except for in Croatia, obviously. But yeah, it's like a whole, you know, some festivals are, Glastonbury, for example, that's around 300,000 people, including
Wow.
staff, in
Wow.
a pop-up. It takes 4 months to build, and it basically, I think it becomes like the 16th biggest town in the UK when it's on. So you've got like hospitals, police stations, infrastructure. They bring in the phone masts. Like nothing is there permanently. It's all brought in. I think a lot of people don't realize that, and they take for granted that like there's people who spend their entire year making sure that you have the best experience possible. And I
Yeah.
like to think I'm one of them.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna
I'm
say,
lucky that my job's done when the doors are open, so I can have a great time with everybody else. And hopefully you take a couple of drinks tokens and have a few drinks and a great time.
you just
But
mentioned
yeah,
like you mentioned so many good topics real quick. Like first off, the way you got your name, you know, Festival King, and one thing you did just to kind of, you know, we want to enlighten everybody at home because people are at home right now trying to figure out what to do. Explore your creative side. Like he just said it, his friends were like, hey, you're the festival king. He's like, you know what? That's it. He was proactive, jumped online, bought the .com, and there it is. Like you didn't really, maybe when he did that, you didn't know, right, exactly what you were going to do, but you're like, I want that name, and then I'll grow from
absolutely
there.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was getting the traction on my Snapchat, and then I basically used to download all of my Snapchat stories and then upload them, and then I started editing them together. And then I don't even use my website anymore because Instagram highlights means that I can story a whole festival, pop it up, and then people can skip over the bits that they don't want to see. But also when people come to me and say, I get people in my messages being like, what do you think of this festival? Have you been? I'd be like, yeah, I have. Take a look at my highlights. And they can literally see my whole experience from me getting up and getting on a plane. Because for some of the festivals where I'm not working, like I don't often work the international ones. Like it's like for me getting up, getting on the plane, having drinks at the airport with my mates. I was at Lost and Found Festival, which I don't know if you know the DJ Annie Mac. She's huge here. I arrived at that festival. In a horse and carriage. I'm that guy. Yeah. I'm that guy.
You have to be.
It was just a horse and carriage in the street. And I'm just like, can I give you 20 euros to go in your horse and carriage to the entrance of the festival to like get my wristbands? And the guy was just like, yeah. Jump in and like wave into the crowds, doing that whole royal wave. My friends were like, you're embarrassing me. You can hear them on the video. Check out the highlights. You can literally hear them being like, stop it, you're embarrassing me now. But yeah, I kind of switched, and the highlights of and just the way Instagram works means that I don't have to spend hours editing, and people can watch it at their leisure, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to see this act, and they can just one click and flick through, not have to watch everything like they did on YouTube. So yeah, kind of just transitioned over like, oh, these are my Snapchats where, I think I was getting 400,000 views on some stories. Going to like Instagram, going to YouTube, and then moving on to Instagram, and then just, I've still got the website because I've got to keep that .com just in case. Don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm not giving that up. So it's just like, I saw the opportunity. It doesn't cost much to buy a website. I just bought like a Wix one, chucked it up, did a little blog, downloaded my Snapchat stories, uploaded them onto the website, and people liked it.
There you go. And it's that simple.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get discouraged or they don't want to go into it because they think it's this very extreme process. Even us, when we started Festiie, we didn't know anything really about the technology and RF radio frequencies and hardware, but we're like, all right, well, let's simplify it for ourselves. What do we want in a device? How do we go get it? What's the first step we take towards doing it? And then it starts to add up. So what are some tips on a social media front that you would recommend? Because if you're pushing 400K views on a story, is it just hashtags? Is it just this, or what is it?
Weirdly, it was just Snapchat that did that. Like, I wasn't actively promoting it, but they put me on I went viral once. Mm-hmm. And once you went viral once, they used to be at the top of the list for good content. Mm-hmm. So just every week, they like put me like in the festival thing, and I'd be in like the first 3. So I was getting, some weeks it'd be like 28,000 views, some weeks it'd be like 65,000 views, some weeks it'd be 120. But then I started putting my on there, knowing that people would see it. So yeah, it just kind of grew organically. Like, I wish I could say that there was a tip or a trick. Yeah. But that was luck to a certain extent. But I was putting out constant content that was, funny, engaging, interesting, and sometimes that people wouldn't see. At one point I figured out if I said things like "Welcome to this festival," then I'm like, right, okay, I can be the first person on the story, because they want it to be a journey themselves. Right. And then if the rain changes, if you do it like it's kind of like a public announcement, and you've got it in your mind that you're doing it for the public, not just for your mates, then you're more likely to be picked up. And I think it's the same with TikTok now. I don't know about the US, but like
Yeah.
Snapchat's kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember the last time I snapped. Like, sometimes I'll like get a message to you and I'll have a look. I quite like reading the news on there.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like TikTok is the next thing, where it's just like keep pushing out content, keep being funny, keep hashtagging, keep doing things that you think people want to see in an engaging way.
Yep. And you just said also staying authentic. You weren't trying to be someone else. You're just like, hey, honestly, this is what I do when I go to festivals, and people resonate.
I mean, I'm not going to be a fitness blogger. I'm not going to be like a fashion blogger. But, one of the benefits of this is that, I do get sent clothes for festivals. So quite often you'll see me at a festival and I do look fire. And it's because people are like seeing it. And then one thing I love is like random people come up to me and be like, oh, I bought this because of you.
So cool.
Which is weird. Like my friends struggle with it a lot, and it's just like it's like you're famous, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm really not. I did get recognized in Starbucks once though, so that was the highlight of my year.
Exactly. Without the crowd.
But I'm always unapologetically me. There's no one else I can be. And everybody, the best advice is like always be you.
Yeah.
Unless you can be like Beyonce or Calvin Harris or someone.
Give me 1 second. I gotta let this dog out real quick. She's making noises. One quick second. All right, kid. There you go. All right. So you just mentioned that staying authentic, going viral,
pretending to be royalty.
With pretending
horse and carriage.
We're all royalty, right?
Exactly.
So how, for example, what do you think? And okay, you also mentioned what goes into a festival. You just said Glastonbury, 4 months of preparation, and same thing for like Coachella. As soon as they're done, I mean, if tickets are going on sale in June when the festival finishes in April, it's constant. So that's why the road to getting back to festivals, on an outsider perspective, when we're like, man, I hope they just let it happen. It's beyond that. There's so much preparation that goes involved. And now it's even more so because the liabilities and everything like that. So we all love the festival scene. I think right now we need to self-reflect and assess how we can become better and we can appreciate the scene more, right? Because I'm sure if we do this properly, I mean, it might take a while. Fingers crossed, right? September, I know you said. But hey, there could be another spike because of this, right? And there's been talked about, the bubble burst, the music festival bubble burst. I mean, if that's true, then there's going to be another one.
And the bubble does need to burst. It absolutely has to. It's how we get new festivals coming through, becoming major festivals. It's how old festivals that are dying out disappear, go away, and reinvent themselves. It's a cycle that's always been happening. This has been, a catalyst. And some of the weaker festivals won't survive. And there's some big festivals who are just buying up loads of small festivals, and we'll see them come back bigger, better, and stronger next year. I mean, they have to have that cycle. Some of the biggest festivals in the UK, like you may have heard of, like Global Gathering, gone. V Festival, that sold out every year, and they had like Coachella style headliners like Jay-Z and Calvin Harris and Pink and Rihanna, all on the same lineup, like big global names.
Now? Are they gone?
Gone.
What?
So, Virgin said they don't want to be called V-Fest. They don't want to sponsor it anymore. So they're like, oh, we'll change the name. They changed the name, dropped to 15,000 people, and it was terrible.
Wow.
So, and then it lasted 1 year and disappeared. Like a simple thing like somebody saying you can't call it V-Fest anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Gone.
Because of the branding. That's that whole brand loyalty. And now people don't know what's this new, just that question, oh, what is this? And as
it's EDC if it's not called EDC.
Yeah. It's not going to get the EDC numbers, right? Because that's decades that went into building that brand. So, wow.
Yeah.
That's the part that kind of that hurts, you know, especially with like all the small festivals that we do love, right? Like I feel like everyone loves certain small festivals, but now it's just like, hey, we just aren't able to do it. What do you see for the future? But then you said new festivals will come out, right? So how the hell do you stay optimistic during this time?
I mean, it's called Phoenixing. So they'll have a concept. I mean, the one thing that I really must tell everyone listening, if you were being asked to roll your tickets over to next year instead of a refund, roll it. That's how a lot of festivals will survive. If everybody asks for their money back, you know, you won't be going to that festival next year anyway. It's not their fault. Look forward to 2021. That's a super, super important thing that I have to say. Because a lot of people are worried. And, you know, they want the money back. And then the festival has no operating cash. I forgot what the question was.
No, that's huge. I almost had you say that again. So literally, if you've already bought tickets for 2020 festival, and
for the small festivals, but especially
roll, and they give you that option of, hey, you know, we're offering refunds, but at the same time we can give you credit for the next year. You know, I know immediately, and it's unfortunate because, for example, like Lightning in a Bottle Festival, you know, it's a big festival in the U.S., has a very huge following, people that really love the festival, and they had some slack where a month and a half away, the festival actually would have taken place like this past weekend. A month and a half away, everything starts going down, and they're like, okay, well, we had prepared so much, and it was this very controversial. And they offered that. They said either we can give you credit for next year, but everyone was upset because you think, in our head, we're thinking, well, everyone's freaking out. We just want it now. But if we look at the larger picture, of course it's debatable. But if you can, right, you're basically saying if you can afford to roll it over, roll it over. If you can't afford to roll it over, okay. But if you can, that's going to help preserve operating cash moving forward. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, and I think, you know, obviously the US is going through a terrible time at the minute. Like it is different in the UK. Like our government have stepped up. So if your office or workplace is closed, you're getting 80% of your salary every month covered by the government. So yeah, which has been great. But obviously, you know, there are still people who are losing their jobs and whatnot. You know, that, you know, your stimulus check was nice. You know, there's a VIP ticket at Coachella gone. That's not even a month, you know, it's not even a month's rent in most places. So I do understand that there's a different circumstance in the US, but if you can roll it, do it. It'll be worth it. And the festivals, you know, will be eternally grateful. Just like, you know, plur. Like, it'll come back to you in the universe, honestly, and it'll come back in an amazing event next year. Because they've got twice as long to plan. There's no excuse for a bad festival next year. They got double time.
You're right. Either that or, you know, don't go for it. If you're going to go for it, go for it. And that's the whole thing where mentally, I mean, I would say in the US, mentally prepare yourself, because if 200 festivals are saying October, I mean, we're one announcement away from that October being 2021. Anyway, it's still close. So just prepare for 2021 and be excited about that. And, you know, because that's what we can do.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is about all the festivals happening at once. Like, if it's not a regular thing, because it's like the infrastructure. So all of the festivals use the same bars, the same stages, the same lights. They might look different, and they might have, you know, different banners and whatnot, but it's all the same stuff. So is there enough equipment to service all of these festivals? That if there's a lot, that is my question, especially for October 2021, where they can all be spread out and in their normal times. But yeah, it's just, is there enough equipment? Are there enough lights and stages and sound systems good enough to deliver the event that they need to deliver, especially after what's happened?
Yep. And then we haven't even spoken about festival insurance because it's not covering certain things. So there's a lot, man, but we all have to stay positive.
I'm not talking about insurance.
Yeah. But we all got to stay positive. I mean,
it's no fun.
We have been staying positive, and obviously, like, just from a mental health perspective, some days are better than others. Reaching out, right? Reaching out to artists, reaching out to friends, reaching out to any type of creator during this time. Like, go on social media. Like, if you're having a good day, I've been trying to push that message. If you're having a good day, literally go online or message somebody, because that energy is contagious, and we need to keep that going, because some days are more challenging than others.
Yeah. And I think, so one thing I like doing is like, I like having a look back at like old memories. I like, going on YouTube and watching, sets that I've seen in the past and just like take me back there, have a couple of drinks in the house. Like one guy last week messaged me and said, I've watched every single one of your highlights. And bear in mind, there's about 40 on there. And I was just like, I don't think you want to be doing that. That's like a rabbit hole of just going down being like, I wish I was at festivals.
Yeah.
But just like seek out stuff that you can watch and look and just increase your mood. If it a virtual festival is not the same as a real festival. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're in the house by yourself, 2 bottles of wine deep, and you're just raving. It can. When the festival goes off, you're just like, right, what now? What now? There's nowhere to go. There's no one here. So it's kind of just being aware about what comes after that. So it's like, have a plan, have someone to talk to, watch the virtual festival on Zoom, so that when that ends, you can talk to your mates. Just the only thing we can do is stay positive.
Yep.
That's it.
And stay together on a spiritual level, essentially, right? The festival spirit is still there. And it's cool that you mentioned Plur, because I feel like you just said, coming from the UK, maybe that's something that's not blatantly, part of the festival culture. But let's talk about, how will you introduce?
There's no cool handshakes.
Yeah, there's no candy. What's your story with Plur, and how do your first Plur moment, and etc.?
I know exactly when and where I was, and I think I probably still follow the guy on Instagram. I can't remember his name. If you're watching this, say hey. I was at EDC Vegas. It was my first time at EDC. One of my friends was living out in the US, and he got in a fight with his girlfriend. And she was just like, I'm going to my parents, and she didn't know that he had EDC tickets, and she flew back to LA. She was like, get on a plane. I'm like, no. I just come off an Island Festival, where I was in the UK, called Isle of Wight. He was like, get on a plane. I did it. Literally went to the airport, took all my stuff, flew out to Vegas.
Wow.
Had the most amazing time. EDC Vegas, if you haven't been, it is the only festival in the world that has taken my breath away. Right, that's a big statement. I've been to minimum 150 different festivals, some multiple times, at least. And when you walk to the top of the stairs and you overlook the whole of the speedway, there's never ever been a feeling that I felt like that, where you can feel the bass in your heart. Then, you're like, oh, great, I walked all the way up here, sick, couple of pictures, couple of Snapchats, now I got to walk all the way down. And someone like came up to me and just went like that. And I was just like, and he was just like, no. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying. I thought he was trying to speak sign language or something. I'm just like, yeah, peace, juices, I don't know. So we did the whole thing, and I got candy, and I was just like, that's cool. He was just like, You don't have to give me any back. It's fine. He was just like, but yeah. And he kind of like briefly explained to me. I was like, oh, let me get you a drink. We had a drink. Then I actually partied with him for a couple of hours, but after I'd lost my mates after doing like some secret handshake. And just had like, that was like the start of like really feeling part of like the community, even in the US. Because that year I then went to EDC Orlando, and I go home at night literally making candy whilst watching TV. Because I was just like, I want to do it. I want to be part of it. And yeah, I mean, I'm not very good at it, but like I kind of put like British flags on and like different stuff, so people might remember me. But yeah, it was just such an amazing experience, and like taking care of each other, and the whole peace, love, unity, and respect as an idea in dance music. Whilst everyone is also shouting "fuck Donald Trump," and I'm like, okay, so it's a little bit different. So that was 2016 Vegas, and then yeah, straight off the back of EDC Orlando, I was there for the vote, which was, we won't even get into that. That was just weird. There's people crying in the streets. But yeah, it was just such unity that we don't have in the same way in the UK.
It gave me chills when you mentioned, shouts out to EDC, shouts out to Insomniac, shout out to Pasquale, that place. And 2016 was actually my first EDC. And I did remember the same thing, like that overlook, and you're like, whoa, and everything's going up. And then, I got chills with that, goosebumps. And then someone to do that, that's awesome. That's literally like, printed in your mind, body, and soul, like moving forward.
Yeah. And I met people there that about 2016 that I still speak to, that I've met up with at Coachella, that I met up with at EDC, that have flown over to the UK, that I've been for drinks with in LA. Like, I've made lifelong friends. One guy, like, I missed my ride home. I just got in a stranger's car. Bear in mind, I'm in a foreign country. And all the stuff they show on TV, in my head, that's how it is. I got in a stranger's car to drive me to the Strip. And I was literally messaging him on Instagram today. Wow. Like, that's the experience and friendship, and it is literally the peace, love, and unity, respect. Like, it's so real. Like, you can feel it.
Yep.
And yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. That's what we need in the UK. Exactly. That and some like guidelines for where to put your tent. Just that's all we want. That's what we'll take, and you can take being able to drink everywhere on our drink prices. Yeah,
you mentioned, what blew you away, EDC, obviously from a production standpoint, you're like, wow. And then you even, but at the same time, you tip your hat off to Coachella because of that structure, because the way that they run the whole entire 2 weekends. For the
following a laser back to your tent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right, you're on green route. Find the green light. Walk to the green light. Okay, you're on green light 54, and you're there. And then it's just like, right, okay, on green 54 south, and you've written it down on your hand. And then you just go and look for your car.
Yep.
Not trying to find one tent that looks the same as every other tent in a field of 20,000 tents. It's literally what it's like in the UK. And they try and ban totems as well to make it even harder.
In the UK?
They're quite, if you really think about it, they're quite dangerous.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
That's why.
Have you ever been hit by a totem? Like the huge ones. But then, everybody uses the same meme in the same year. There's like, Donald Trump in lipstick, or SpongeBob doing something. It's always the same. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm by the SpongeBob one. It's just like I see 7. But this leads nicely into your product, because that's exactly why we need it. Because I'm terrible for losing people. I'm lucky that I get Wi-Fi at festivals.
Mm-hmm.
And I add my friends to it. And it still doesn't work. And I still can't find them. And I have Wi-Fi, like the same one that all the tills run off. I'm like, boop, boop, put it in my phone. If any UK festivals are listening, please don't change your passwords, because they used the same routers. So I got it once, and I keep finding the same routers, and my phone's just jumping on. Yeah, like that's the worst thing. Losing your friends, and totems are dangerous.
That's, I mean, literally what happened to us. And then the funny part is, there were times when we did have service and where we still can't find. We're like, he's not answering the phone. So that's what with Festiie, our whole thing was, okay, let's just make it so that literally this was our plan. We want to go to the festival with a friend who literally just gets obliterated, who just, wiles out, put one on him, let the damn dude free, and then just be able to find him everywhere he's at. And that was our whole thing, because we're like, we have full service. He's not even answering his phone. He's not even texting back. So with this, we have that live location sharing where you can, on the app, see where they're at. Oh, he's making it right now, which is really funny. Because,
without signal, right?
Without cell phone signal, without Wi-Fi, without data. You know what I mean?
So good.
Yeah. Just like walkie-talkies. Got our little U.S. patent over here, which is beautiful. You know what I mean, people? Thank you. Hard work, dedication.
Ooh, like it.
But that was the thing, because we were like, because we love festivals, but it's like everything changes. I mean, of course, you try to just stay positive. I hope they're having a good time. But for example, if I'm there with my girlfriend and she's gone for 5 hours and nobody having a good time, it's like,
no,
it's tough. So
no, because you worry as well. And just from a health and safety standpoint, festivals should be actively encouraging this, because of some terrible things happen at festivals, unfortunately, and like losing somebody for hours on end. Anything could have happened to them, and having that peace of mind where it's just like, okay, fair enough, they're back at the bar. I don't know if you can if you work with the festival to integrate the festival map with it. But yeah, like that would be sick.
Exactly.
Because, it's just like, right, they're at this stage, they're doing this, they're doing that, and it's just like, okay, they're just queuing for the toilets and they've been there for 25 minutes. Like, and from a health and safety point of view, as, if I was the festival, I'd be like, I absolutely want people to have this.
Yeah.
And actively encourage it and push it through my website and push it through my channels, because it's, it's super important.
Yeah. Thank you. It's exactly like the truth of the matter is, and kind of why we're excited for this podcast in general. Like, once we kicked this podcast off, we quickly realized, oh, wow, this is kind of larger than what we thought. We thought at first, hey, of course, we want to shed positivity and talk about things and share our stories. But at the same time, we also want to address where we can each do better, like as a community. Yeah. You just said it. UK, we need to take some of this plur, right, and start implementing it. We need to take some of these, just even a little more structure. But then on the other side, like we know things happen at festivals, right? And just hoping for the best, that's not cutting it. You know what I mean? Or not for the future that we envision, not for getting back to events and being able to bring I flew my friend out to EDC for day 3, because day 3. The day 3 is zombie day. Whatever's left in the tank, you're emptying it out, right? So I fly
there. Everybody with freshly cut wristbands sewn back together. I was sewing people's wristbands in Caesars. I was just like, they were like, does anyone know how to sew? And I'm like, yeah, I can barely see, but I managed to. Yeah, we've all been there.
Exactly. So, all right, dude taps out, right? We're like, all right, we're flying in another friend. It's going to be his first experience. We fly him in, this whole ordeal, but we finally get him in. It's 8:30 p.m. We get to the festival. I'm like, great, Slander's about to come on. He's next to me. Then he says, oh, I think I see my friend over there. I'll be right back. Next thing I know, I'm like, are you sure you want to do this? He's like, just stay right here. I know exactly where we're at. I'll be back in 5 minutes. It's 8:30 p.m. The next time I see him, 6:30 a.m. And I'm like, this is without Festiie. And I'm like, there you go. And I'm hoping I hope he has a good time. I hope this, but at the end of the day, just knowing that I could link up with him and bring, having that peace of mind goes so far, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite lucky. I'm 6'5", so I can see over the
You are a
crowd.
totem.
Yeah, like I can see over the crowd. But you know, sometimes, like, you know, I took my little cousin to his first festival. I was like, make sure you look after him. Okay, cool, right, stay here. I'm going to the bar. Do not move. It was like middle of the day. We weren't particularly wasted. Come back, he's gone. But he's gone with my friends. But then I couldn't find my friends, so I'm by myself, just like worrying, running around, and I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
Let me know when they're available. Send me one. Send me one. I'll go and tell.
Yes.
All my boys are having them. I'm putting them on my staff. Like, yeah. Like, because, you know, just like, you know, people get, like, obviously I'm quite good. So all the office staff, even if we don't have anything going on, if they're not working at the show, I'll bring them along. I'll be like, right, here's tickets for you and your friends. Come along, go wild. But then they've gone too long, and I'm just like, oh my God, are they okay? Am I responsible for them? And I'm not responsible for them, but I do worry. So yeah, having like that piece, it's just peace of mind.
Exactly.
That, you know, is invaluable.
It goes a long way. And then the whole thing about, like, because sometimes I want to go lone wolf just for like an hour, you know, just an hour though, you know, just an hour.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, like I just want to take off for an hour, guys. You guys can find me, you know. But then that always happens with one friend, but that's not 1 hour. It ends up being 4 hours. Then they're upset, and I'm like, "You're upset. We can't even find you." So it's you know,
if it's a conscious decision, like sometimes I'm like, right, I need an hour. I'm going back to my tent, or I'll like text somebody and be like, hey, can I hide out in your dressing room? Can I like just get away? Because, you know, 40 festivals, sometimes I'm at 3 festivals on a single weekend. It's a lot.
Wow.
So I'm just like, I need a minute. Yeah, I'd turn it off. I would. Yeah. I completely admit it.
Yeah.
But it's a conscious decision. I'm not lost. I'm taking time out.
Yep.
But, you know, as soon as I come out, I'm just like, right, I need to my friends, turn it back on, find them.
Exactly.
You know, it's about the group. It's about taking that minute. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Like, you come up with a fantastic idea. Like, I'd be as soon as I saw it, I'm just like, yeah. I mean,
that's why when I saw, I was like, oh, someone looked at our stuff, and I was like, I gotta reach out to you, because that's our whole thing, you know.
I think we were chatting on Facebook like over a year ago.
Yes.
Like, I think I messaged on Facebook being like, oh, hey, yeah, let me know if you're bringing this to the UK. Yeah. You're like, yeah, we'll let you know. And then, yeah, and now we're here.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So we're getting there, you know, just how you said, like, you started your festival real journey in 2014, and here we are 2020, and the progression, you know, everything you've learned, the knowledge, right? A lot of it firsthand experience, and getting in scenarios where you're like, okay, I don't want to be in this scenario again. So same thing for us, you know, with the product and learning, and we've learned so much. It's been, you know, close to 4 years now, and we're like right there, because, you know, the prototype is one thing, to push it to the market, to get it ready, to scale it, to be like, oh wait, you can use this not just as an attendee, but as the company providing the security, as the person that wants to watch his staff, as so many ways. So, but it has to start with the passion. It has to start with that real need of that authentic, like, we're festival goers, and we want to make this for festival goers by festival goers. And then you see where it goes from there, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I guess, like, if you've got the app, I mean, integrating it with the festival as well. Tell you what would be cool, though. From my point of view, if I had a quiet bar and one of my products wasn't doing well, if I could push out a notification to be like, hey, yeah, go to this bar and have this drink for half off to get the bar busy and people drinking my product, I do that.
Exactly.
You get that one for free, I'll charge you for the rest of my ideas. And very expensive.
Yes. That's the whole thing. And that's why I was like, man, this is just the start. Like, you're going to be able to send offline messages to attendees. So, like you said, if you have that 2-for-1 deal for anyone that comes in the next hour, whatever it is, like, it opens up a whole new realm. So we're definitely going to have to, after this podcast, we're going to be in contact. Speaking of contact, you know, appreciate you sharing your story. This is what it's all about, right? Like,
Yeah.
If you weren't passionate about festivals, you wouldn't be going to 30 plus a year. Like, straight up, doesn't matter if you're working or not. You know,
you've got to be, and it does, it is intense and it does get hard. And there are times that I'll go to a festival and I'm like, right, I'm quite good with like discipline. So I'm like, right, I'm going to go to this festival. I'm not going to drink at this event, but I'm still going to have a great time. I've got to take those moments, but the most important thing is like always have fun, unless I really don't like the music. But then I usually send somebody else.
There you go.
It happens. Yep. It happens.
Same here. Yeah. We started off just going to festivals. Then now the other side where we're pushing out, some media, we're pushing out product. We have to be level-headed, and it's larger than us, right? It's for the next generation, the next wave. But then we get the enjoyment of being able to be part of propelling that movement. So
yeah.
How do we stay in touch with you? How do we reach out? If we're moved by this, inspired, we just want to connect. Obviously, when you come to LA, you're gonna have to hit me up. But what's the Instagram handles, etc.?
Yes. So if you just type in The Festival King into Instagram with spaces, I come up. But it's not my handle. My name's Liam Dixson. So if you type in @the Liam Dixson Dixon, it comes up. But yeah, or you can go to thefestivalking.com, hit me up through there, and there's links to all of my socials and whatnot. But please do ask me about festivals anywhere, or if you're looking at getting into them. One of the questions that I always get is, how do you do it, or how can I go to that many festivals? I usually push them towards the ticket reseller networks. I think there's one called like Pollen that's massive in the US. Mm-hmm. Where you can earn tickets for free, and like working for companies like that is a great way to get free tickets, go with your friends and experience it. It's not an easy life. It's not all fun, but it is a lot of fun. It is a lot. Work hard, play harder. I'll always be my motto.
There it is. The Festival King, Liam Dixson. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Desmond Beristain, Festiie Files Podcast. Find them at the Liam
Dixson.
The Liam
or just
Dixson.
type in The Festival King.
Or The Festival King. And most importantly, everybody, peace, love, unity, and respect. We're signing out. Festiie Files. Bye.